Now, shotgun start in golf is full of mathematics. There's a lot of setup work that we have to do in order to make a tournament work. So I'm going to demonstrate to you just exactly how we do a shotgun start here.
And here we go.
All right, all right, all right. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Greetings and welcome to a Monday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is September 29th. Andy, how we doing?
Brendan! It's Victory Monday.
For who?
Well, my Bears.
Your Chicago Bears. I don't know the score of any NFL game. I've been in the throes of a electric Sunday singles matchup. I mean, by probably midnight tonight, I'll be on to the Sanderson, if I'm being honest. I'm ready to wash my hands of this Ryder Cup and talk about the Chicken Charity Classic. But it was a great day at Bethpage. Almost maybe an optimal day. It was an optimal day if you were out there.
It was an optimal day.
Suboptimal maybe at times for Europe.
I'll tell you what was optimal about my day. The Ryder Cup ended. Right after the press conference ended, I turned on YouTube TV, and my Bears blocked a field goal.
Oh,
That's
really?
all I caught of the game.
Really?
Yeah.
That was it. All right.
And then it was an optimal day if you're a European Ryder Cup fan.
It worked out all right for them. And it can work out for you, too. If you go to Optum.com to learn more, thanks to our friends at Optum, a leading information and technology-enabled health services business dedicated to helping make the health system work better for everyone. More than 210,000 people worldwide, Optum delivers intelligent, integrated solutions that help to modernize the health system and improve overall population health. It is a proud partner of the Players' Championship, and Rory McIlroy is an Optum Health ambassador. Rory himself had a pretty good cup. I think that was the main takeaway there early on. The first question in the European team room was, Rory, you called your shot. And it came together. You hit it. You won at Bethpage. So, good day for Optum ambassador Rory McIlroy.
Who also called their shot?
Who's that?
Keegan Bradley.
He called, it seems like, several shots.
He said, we're going to go to Bethpage and we're going to kick their effing ass. And then, Shane Lowry was sitting under having a beer with the cup under that quote in the team room. How about how they held that back from us?
That's a great little move. I mean, and we'll get to this. Europe has all the details dialed in. I don't know if that means the difference between winning and losing. I would say we're getting to a point where it does. Like we have to, and we've been at that point. We've been at that point where, like, Morikawa just had a bad week, or we missed our putts, they made theirs. Like we are at the point where, all these things cumulatively, the painting, the quotes on the wall come together, and they are ahead of America. They are ahead of the USA, and it makes the difference. I'm worried, Andy, if I must be candid, I'm worried about the status of Netflix's Full Swing. If this is they're using these quotes to put on the wall. I don't think anyone's agreed to that. Again, putting the cameras, and this became sort of a substantive matter throughout the week for Europe. A cool little bit of trolling, I guess you would say, by Shane Lowry posting under the quote on the wall with the trophy.
Yeah, a pretty amazing way to end the week. They did like the whole video of the team room earlier this week, and I thought it was a cool video. Behind the scenes, a little behind the scenes of like what they had. But obviously they held that quote back, and pretty epic troll job.
He called the shot. He just didn't hit the shot. Is that what we're suggesting? Okay.
Yeah. One thing I picked up from the press conference was Luke Donald, all the detail that goes into their planning with the hotel. He did a little drive-by of the Garden City Hotel, which PJ says is the nicest hotel on Long Island.
Only 5-star on Long Island.
I don't know if it was drive-by. I think it was calculated. I think he sat there for a while, just pointed and fired.
Well, I gotta say, so he went in and he talked about and this is, I think, you could take this with a grain of salt, or you could say if you do a bunch of this stuff, it adds up and it makes a difference. But he talked about how they changed bed sheets. They changed the shampoo and body wash. They brought something to put under the door to make it dark.
No light.
And
Cracks.
I gotta say,
New beds.
all I gotta say is that I expect you guys to do this for me for the Masters now.
What? So you perform your
Yeah.
best?
Yeah.
All right, we can do that. Let's get Business Pete on that. This is look, this is a big week for us. We need to podcast to our best.
We need to podcast.
We got motivational throw pillows to bond. We got family is forever. We've already got the throw pillows going, which I'm sure they got in the team room, similar motivational. Family is forever. We overheard Rory. We were kind of milling about, getting seen, as they say. It was great taking it in. We overheard Rory talking to, I think it was an Northern Irish TV station. It might have been Stephen Watson. And the gist of his comments were look, these teams are even. We know they're close to even. We know golf can be very fickle, where even if it is uneven, something, the best team doesn't always win. But these teams were so close, so even. And there are studies that if one team is more cohesive than the other, cohesion truly matters to performance, right? And he's citing statistics 40%. It might have an impact of it shifts you 40%,
40 up to 40%.
And so all these things, look, some people say the point of this podcast is to give people the stick, right? And I think if we heard about shampoo and bed sheets, we would cackle and say that's so much gobbledygook.
Honestly, though, I think the thing for the door is legit.
Let's grade the different.
Rank them in importance. I think the thing for the door that keeps it darker. Then I would go bed.
Yeah, bed's one.
I think you
does it matter how
acclimate
dark
to the
it
bed.
is if you're on a piece of wood, cardboard?
Do they know what everybody's bed is? What one man's trash is another man's treasure in terms of beds.
Yeah, some people like it firm. Some people like it.
Do they have bed specs for everybody?
I'm
now
sure
that
he probably
I
took
would be
it in. He custom.
This reminds
beds.
me of the Mattress King.
Bed's number one. The
Mattress
crack in the door is 2. Sheets. I feel like sheets are kind of overrated. If you get a bad set of sheets, that's not good.
Yeah.
I'm talking about in this scale of what we're talking about.
Where would the soaps and shampoos rank? That's at the bottom.
I think it's not bad. If you get a terrible soap, and many of them are in hotels, like shampoo.
It's a 5-star hotel. How bad could it be?
That's fair. I can't believe we're litigating this at the top. The uniforms had the 4 stripes for the 4 away wins and all that. I think, emphatically what seems to resonate with these guys, and Donald said it, look, it's my job to make this the best week of their lives, to make this you're going to win all your accolades, and it's important to you win all the individual stuff, and it's important to run that up, and that's the point of being a professional golfer. But this is going to be the best week of your life, and these are going to be the most cherished memories and all that. And it's literally my job to make it so that's the case as much as I possibly can. And that's when you get into shampoos and all these different things in terms of building a team. And, man, they have it so dialed in from across multiple generations now. I would say there's a very purposeful way in how they keep an element of the past, not just in the logos or the clothes, but JMO still there. Is he hitting shots? I know Jose Maria will lot the ball, but he is a connection to these 4 away cups and this kind of run of dominance that their run of ascendance. I watched him lot the ball, I obviously think is the man. He's this mythical figure. Every time he's walking around, my eye, there were a million people on that green, my eyes just kept finding lot the ball, going around giving people. But everybody had walked off, and he like went out to the middle of the 18th green, and I don't know what he was doing something probably to like Seve or saying
Surprised
hello
he
to
wasn't
Seve
hitting,
up
like
in the sky.
Five iron bump and run.
Yeah,
or
that would be
something,
sick too.
you know?
And then he like came back and he was all by himself and he had like tears in his eyes, and I don't, whatever. But he still feels this connection to whatever 20-year-old Rasmus Højgaard is doing, right? And so Thomas Bjorn's still a captain. He seems like they just connect it down, and Rory seems to be a bridge, and Rose is a bridge, and Fleetwood now is like a pillar of the team. So, and obviously there's a lineage with Rahm. So there's stuff going on.
You got to put Rahm up there too. We don't want him to feel slighted.
No, there's multiple lions. Fitz was a lion today. It was awesome to watch Fitz. I followed their match pretty much the whole way around.
Bryson was kind of a lion.
He was a house cat for about 7 holes. He was
so grumpy.
He missed the putt on 5 that Fitz made. And it went in. And he's in the middle of the green. He goes, ah! He started yelling at himself, multiple F-bombs. Like, ah! And it was like loud enough that like there was enough ambient crowd noise. It was like, oh my God. But he got back in it, and then he was hilarious, just pumping up the crowd, every putt made, just doing his like big step over. So I don't know. Is it ethereal? Is it something in the air? I think there's something to the studies. There's a purpose. There's a history for why they do things the way they do.
And I think when you zoom out of this one in particular, is that they did all this stuff, and what they did in terms of their guys were ready to go from the second the event started.
Right.
There was no slow start. Like, those guys hit the ground running, and that ended up being the difference. Like, the U.S. woke up today, and they'll salt it away as like they made more putts than us. But like, frankly, that team was more prepared to play. You heard the U.S. team talk about like, well, they switched what holes Scotty and Henley were playing and alternate shot because they didn't realize how soft the golf course was. Throughout the tournament, spin control was a big issue, and it was an issue for a lot of players. But if I had to say it was a bigger issue for one side, it was a bigger issue for the American side. And I think, like, just in general, the European players were more prepared to play, and then also more inspired to play. It felt like, it felt like the Americans, it kind of took getting their ass kicked to get them inspired to play well and save some face today.
Yeah, you wonder about, look, really full credit to so many of these American players. Like, a lot of them were down too. Like, 5 of those first 6 matches were blue on the board. The day ended with just one blue spot. Ludwig, I'm calling him the thin blue line. There's just one blue line amidst a lot of red and some halves, and like big ups to the American. Cameron Young and JT winning on 18. Bryson being, I think 5 down at some point. Certainly 4 for
5
much of
down.
it. Yeah,
5
down.
through 8, I think.
And getting to halved and almost winning it, like getting a half point there. Did they need the wins? Yeah, they had no margin. They had no margin for Bryson having at that point. But a Lion performance on the back there to get from 5 down to a half. Scotty kind of beating back Rory. Both are exhausted, clearly.
Scotty got off the bagel boy train.
He did. The only bagel boy we have left.
Sadly.
Poor Rasmus. Still like a thin, low-cal bagel because he got 2 shots.
No, that's a full bagel. It's a full tournament bagel. I would say the one that's the thin bagel is Harris, because he got off the bagel train because of the envelope.
Are you moved by this European stuff that like they have it all dialed in?
I just think it's cool. Like, golf is an individual sport. And I think it's really neat that these guys, many of whom are from different countries, assimilate every 2 years and seemingly are really good friends. and they come together, and in recent memory have been kicking the ass of the Americans, you know? And I think that's just something that I find endearing in a way, is that there's no pretense, and Luke said this in the press conference, like, there's nobody that says, I don't want to play with that guy. It's more of, who do you want me to play with? Let's go.
And you pretty fully believe it. I do. I try to think about maybe no, not with them. And they had the luxury of bringing pretty much everyone back from their last Ryder Cup, which made it a huge benefit this time around. That matters. I mean,
continuity matters.
So Shane Lowry might not be in good form. He didn't play his best this week, but then he got hot. Continuity matters.
He played
great
awesome
yesterday.
He played great yesterday, and then he birdied 3 of the last 4 today. Shane Lowry, pretty amazing, because in that match Rory and him played yesterday, Rory was you could tell he was just toast.
Yeah.
Toast, really, the back 9 of yesterday and today. Just, I think, mentally more so than physically spent. Mentally having to go through everything inside the ropes that he went through the last 3 days. Just burned him.
You're probably pretty mentally spent when you play 4 Ryder Cup matches to begin with.
Yes.
In a matter of basically 24 hours, or I guess 48 hours. But then you compound it with
and all these
what
guys,
happened.
I think the thing is, all these guys got it.
Yeah.
Rory just got it the worst of
Right.
all of them.
Right.
But all these guys, they were just, getting grenades lobbed at them from the audience all week. And I think Shane, the way he stepped up in the match with Rory on Saturday afternoon was super impressive. And then the finish today, that's a hard stretch of holes, and to birdie 15, 16, and 18 and have a really great 2-putt on 17 to earn the half point to retain the cup, while Henley morphed into a house cat.
Morphed or just pranced his way to the edge of the porch and ran back inside. Was he not a house cat, or he had to morph?
He was a house cat.
Okay,
yeah.
There we go.
Was it the Torrey Pines U.S. Open? They shot 81 on Sunday.
I don't know.
It was him and Mackenzie Hughes.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah. I think at one point I remember on the back 9, it was Russell Henley might win, and then I think he hit it way left on 11, the par 3.
He had a bad putt at 17, an equally bad or worse putt at 18.
The crazy thing, though, is the shot on 18 he hit out of that bunker was unbelievable.
Incredible. And it landed right in front of the whole U.S. team.
Yeah.
You're fired up. And to see Shane respond then to put it inside of him was a macho shot. That was just put a lid on it. No, you're good. Was there a point today that you thought something other than the Europeans winning the cup might happen?
No.
Okay.
There was did you?
Not really. I made a bunch of timestamps. There's not even the illusion that you this phenomenon that we talk about. There's always a 30-minute stretch on Sunday singles where this might happen, and the miracle of Medina or Brooklyn might happen again. Someone tried to force that on me. I was like, no, there's they're all halved right now. They don't need that much. And then it was about 4:45 when Thomas and Cameron Young flipped it. I was like, oh, that's it. And Bryson got it to tied, all square. It's I guess there's really no more blue left. But no, I never really thought. What I thought honestly was going to happen is we were going to get a 14-14 deal. And, this envelope drama was going to go crazy because it seemed like the American fans and maybe the American team were just foaming at the mouth about this envelope rule. And I thought that's what was going to happen. I was streaming the broadcast as I was bouncing around holes. And you could, McGinley was like, it's very important, very important. Dan, now they must get to 14.5. We must win this. It's like, this is not good enough, Dan. The Americans are showing their mettle. He was big on metal.
Yeah.
Metal. It's just their metal, all sorts of things like that. He was like, we got to get beyond 14. They did. With a couple halves, a Sam Burns 3-putt.
They got to 14.5 without the envelope.
A Sam Burns 3-putt, a Colin Morikawa, yeah.
How about Deputy Sam just handing over a half point at the end?
I mean, I can't.
The best putter in the world.
Well, yeah, I don't know if it was a good or bad week for statistics.
I think honestly, the one stat we need more than anything else is like strokes gained putting when something matters.
I mean, that could be an interesting way to how you quantify that.
I think that the reason they made the setup a putting test, like they made it a putting contest because the stats guys told them they were better putters. Wasn't that a storyline going into the week? That the U.S. team was better putters.
Yep.
And I don't know, like, I just think that the over-reliance on strokes gained has reached a fever pitch.
I completely agree with that.
Because like you're just not all putts are the same.
Okay.
And I get like you aggregate it over a long period of time. But, like, I just want to see back nine Sunday when you're in the top 5.
I agree with that. I do think, a forerunner of data analytics becoming an increasingly larger part of the discussion are these team events. And I do think it's more important, disproportionately important for the team events. Do I think it's, you have captains that, I'm not saying this week, might be kind of blind, might not be the brightest bulbs on the strand. And we're talking about our flashback of putting Phil and Tiger together because it might be good for the golf world to see them come together and sing Kumbaya. Like, I'm glad we're past that. I realize, like, peak data, we might over rely on it. But, Dodo Molinari, and Donald was clear to point him out. I had walked with him a good bit today as he was following the Fitz. He was sort of Fitzy's guy today. He's a massive part of this European operation.
I'm convinced, though, that Dodo's looking at it differently than strokes gained.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
right.
This is like the thing. Is like if I asked you who the best putters were this week, who would you say?
Like Fleetwood, Rose. Somewhere
I think,
there.
Like Rory.
Rory was nuts the first match.
Down the stretch of matches, just holding putts. Patrick Cantlay would be one that like came to mind, and I think he played pretty bad today. And he didn't make putts today, but like the way he putted down the stretch, Cam Young made a ton of putts. These are all guys that like aren't at the top of putters in the world. Putting's super variable, right? But it is like I think there's I think Bryson makes a ton of putts when they matter. There's a there are certain guys that just make putts when they need to make putts. And I think that isn't captured in just week in, week out tour golf.
Yeah. Should we talk about the putting contest and the question you asked to Keegan Bradley?
If you want, all I did was ask Keegan about why
I was not there. I was getting our European celebration scene for this podcast.
Well, I just the setup was an interesting setup. Just with what they did, they cut the rough to where it was like nothing.
It was
at the
crazy.
beginning of the week. I think by like Sunday the rough had grown a decent amount. I mean, it was not. It doled out some penalty, but there really was no. I think the biggest issue with the setup, if I was going to say, is there was no penalty for missing greens.
I don't recall.
But
seen a ball sit down in the rough either, regardless
it
how
sat down a couple times.
A couple times.
But here's my biggest thing: is it combined with how soft the greens were, and the short rough around really benign greens. Like Bethpage's weakest part of the golf course is the greens are just they're so simple and so flat, and if you get them up around the greens, it's usually really easy up and down. And I'm not like a huge fan of thick rough, right? But I was watching this tournament. I'm like, God, you could just get up and down anywhere. Like you look at these shots and you're like, that's not hard. And he missed it in the worst spot you could possibly miss it in. And so I asked him about did the data tell you to cut the rough?
Do you want me to read the transcript?
I asked what the decision making was.
Okay.
What did he say back?
He said, we tried to set the course up to help our team. Obviously, it wasn't the right decision. I think anytime you're the leader of a team, or the captain, or the coach, or whatever, we talked about this last night, you're going to get the accolades, and you need to take the blame for when things don't go well. I would say that's true. I definitely made a mistake on the course setup. That is a pretty stark admission, almost commendable. I found Keegan to be, quite frankly, kind of impressive in the press conferences. That doesn't win you any points, and he made a boatload of mistakes that probably could have been the difference before we got to today. But I found it to be pretty impressive, at least Saturday night. It sounds. I didn't watch this one. I didn't watch Sunday night. I definitely made a mistake on the course setup. I should have listened a little bit more to my intuition. For whatever reason, that seems to be throwing the data boys under the bus.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's how I read that.
That's why I asked the follow-up question.
More to my intuition. For whatever reason, that wasn't the right way to set the course up. The greens were soft as I've ever seen the greens without it raining, especially here. Get pretty firm. They never firmed up. You said your intuition. Did the data say to cut the rough? Wow, look at you, little Scott Pelley over here pushing the envelope.
I'm not gonna lie. I think I got a couple head nods from the U.S. team, from a couple players that were happy about the line of questioning.
Oh, they're throwing the data boys under the bus too.
I think that some of the U.S. players were really pissed off that the rough was short.
At how easy it was?
Yeah. You know who I think was the number one guy mad?
Who?
Sheriff. Not enough punishment being doled out.
Not enough. Too much recidivism. They're letting guys back on the streets to commit more crimes.
They decriminalized the drugs.
That's good. You said your intuition. Did the data say to cut the rough? We sat, or I did, and looked at a lot of info. We thought this was the best way to set the golf course up to win. You look at past Ryder Cups, and that's kind of how it goes. Sometimes you got to make a decision what to do, and if they could go back, I probably would have changed that. The Europeans just played incredible golf. Doesn't matter how you set it up. When they play that well, he did seem to change pronouns there. I should have listened to my intuition. Then he said, we thought this was the best way to set up the golf course. He went from an I to a we, which would bring more people into it.
So anyway, I was thinking about this. He's talking about how this is the way to set up the course. That feels very 2016 to me. When you were playing against Lee Westwood and Ian Poulter and, maybe Jamie Donaldson had just left the building. But, that premise of, we cut the rough short on American, that's an American thing, is to cut the rough short. That was Hazeltine.
I mean, he was talking Saturday night about the greens needing to be faster because they play slow greens in Europe.
This is where I was going with this. And
as if these guys are playing.
None of the guys on the European team play in Europe.
As if they're playing North Berwick 52 weeks a year, Ely or something.
Yeah.
What?
So anyways, they're talking about this. It's okay, but the European team might be longer than you. And yeah, that makes total sense, cutting the rough down when you have the longer team, like it was at Hazeltine, where they were just they could just hit it far,
wedge it on.
Yeah,
short
and
rough.
Fitzy hit it 280 yards at that point, and they had DJ just putting stuff in Fitzy into a locker. But now that European team might be longer than your team, and you're talking about like cutting the rough down because that's what effectively you're saying that's what we do.
2016, yeah.
And then they're talking about the green speeds need to be fast because the Europeans play on slower greens when the entire European roster plays on the PGA Tour. Like, I don't want to.
He did talk about
It
like I
seems
go
like
over
a
there.
deeply unserious organization that not organization. It seems deeply unserious, the information that they're looking at. Also, in this press conference, Scotty talked about how, they on Friday night, Ted Scott and Henley's caddy are talking about flipping which tees they play off of. When they
the
got
caddies?
Yeah, the
I
caddies.
missed the American press conference.
So
caddies?
So they Shane Ryan asked about like why did they change holes?
Yeah.
Why
Henley
did-
hit off one on Friday
Yeah,
and they flipped. Yeah.
And he does it nice. I love how he prefaces his question. He's like,
Shane Ryan.
"This might be a really dumb question."
He does do that.
and it's like perfect because it disarms the guy. it just like disarms them.
It's like you shake him with your right hand and punch him in the face with your left. Kinda. Yeah, okay.
But anyways, Scotty's like, we got sent back out, and we came. We saw that we were playing, and then we came out, and Ted and Henley's caddy were sitting there with yardage books talking about how it would work better if we switched the teams. And then he was like, we played a lot better.
Who said that?
Scotty.
Scotty? So they're figuring this out on the fly Friday night?
Friday night.
The caddies are looking at
But,
yardage
if you
books.
contrast this with the Europeans, and obviously they won, so nobody's going to come out and be, like, nobody's questioning what they do. But to me, it feels like they just knew what they were doing the entire time. And it was the alternate shot was these are our 8 best players. They're going to play alternate shot. And they're playing this order because this makes the most sense. Meanwhile, on the American side, you've got, like, we haven't even talked about the Harris Morikawa thing, which
We talked about it Saturday night.
we did talk about it. But,
We should do it.
analytically, if you want to use data, and is their weakest team possible for alternate shot
Data golf,
according to
let's
Data Golf,
model.
which is just a model. Like, I want to be clear.
Yeah.
You could have another data company that has a different model that would point out, give you different results. But, from all intents and purposes, from form with Morikawa, and I think it seems like Harris English didn't play great either. But like that's one of your weaker teams. And then with Scotty and Russ Henley, they just flat out had the wrong setup. And these are the small margins. You talk about like this thing. If it was a point closer, they tie, And these things matter, especially on the edges, as Rory said, when you have basically 2 dead even teams from a talent perspective.
Yeah, it's reductive and simple and simplistic to say they just made more putts.
That's going to be their line.
Now, did it matter to make more putts? Yeah, it matters. But what is happening around that, before that, during that, to make those putts more, like the chance of those putts being successful, greater? And they're clearly doing that. Like, this isn't a fluke. They set themselves up to win in a way that was, let's be honest, demonstrably different than like what Padraig Harring did at Whistling Straits, or Darren Clark did at Hazeltine. Like, this was, I'm not like contrasting that like with them by means of to be negative, but I think KVV asked John Rahm about like Luke Donald, and Rahm was like, look, it's the professional. Like the word, I remember when I started law school, like one of the favorite professors I really enjoyed, like we did like 20 minutes on like, all right, you chuckle Fs are like out of whatever you were doing. You are pursuing a profession now in law school. Like this is like the origin of the word is a full paid time job that you were avowing your life to profess and whatever. I don't want to get into like the origins of the word. And to hear Rahm say he's like a professional suggests like this is what he does full time now, Luke Donald. And
well, he's probably shopping through a lot of catalogs,
Mattress Warehouse and stuff. Yeah, and to a certain extent, Dodo as well. Like this is his calling now at this point. He's becoming a legend in Europe, and the European Tour has an entire operation. Like this is a separate professional organization almost dedicated to these 3 days every 2 years. And I'm not saying Keegan was unprepared or just a figurehead, but that amount of time and thought isn't going into that, right? That side in the same way as the Europeans are. And you know, on a day like Sunday singles where you might have the talent or they might be exhausted because their big guns have played 4 draining matches, you might be able to make it look like, you know, we outclass them. But, you know, the American side just isn't as professional about it. You have Don Rea is in charge of the organization that hosts this event. And, you know, he said at the trophy ceremony that they retained the cup. And I was saying it with a bunch of Europeans who were they were like offended and like, oh, are you doing soundboard right now? They were like kind of, I was like, oh, that's just Don being Don. You know, that's Donnie Baseball or Donnie Boy getting crossed up. And like, we won the cup. It's like, the thing was like a hot potato. He just wanted, that's the first time Don's ever been short with words. It's like, they want, here, go, take your cup.
You know what saying that they retained the cup was?
It's my personal opinion. There is no personal opinion. I'm the president of the PGA
Are you
of
playing
America.
with Samba?
Yeah.
We don't get it in these lives.
Personal opinion.
Yeah, I was just wanting to follow up here a little bit. You don't think Don has a whole arm of this ready to go, like a whole operation?
No. And then 2 years, Don's gone, and Ted Bishop comes in, and like, it's just the whole thing. If you were starting it today, is completely bananas. The whole way it works. That none of these members or these players aren't really like PGA members. It's just the whole thing.
They are PGA members.
And then
they are. All right.
I know they're one of the 31,000.
That's Don told us they were.
And it changes every 2 years. And Europe has clearly, and I'll shout them out, the whole going back to the Seve era and the 5, and that now lingers and lasts with a lot the ball, have figured something out that, like, you can't be jerking this around every 2 years. And, you know, Americans might bring the stats guys back, or it's just not professional in the way that Europe has made this an organization. And this gets to the whole, like, insane way golf is set up and the way the cookie crumbled with, you know, 4 majors all being run by different things, and
the PGA having the Ryder Cup.
Yes, where people, like, there's just these club pros that play politics, ascend to some, and they pick the captain, and the captain decides what he wants to do, and then they bring guys in not from their organization, and they turn it all, like, and then they turn it all over again 2 years later. The whole thing makes zero sense when you think about it. And Europe has figured out a way to mitigate all the sort of churn and rough waves around.
You know what?
That
I hadn't
natural.
thought about this, but Europe's competitive advantage is that they don't have the PGA of America running this thing on their side.
They have an entire tour that's lifeblood is dedicated to winning.
Do you think the PGA Tour would put together a better organization around the Ryder Cup than the PGA of America?
Probably, yeah.
They could competitive balance.
Yeah, I think they would. You know, chop off a few of those 180 conference rooms and figure out like these are dedicated to Ryder Cup.
Do you think the U.S. needs a task force?
I don't know if that's the case. There's never going to be any stability about it because, they change officers and everything. Like, it just changes. There's not that decades-long commitment.
You know who I think the American Luke Donald could be?
Who?
Ricky Fowler.
It's crossed my mind. I don't think it could be a terrible idea, but
it could be an awful idea.
We do know he's into sort of helping others, congratulating others, the admiration of others. Wants to be he seems
he's
like
respected.
A great guy, good
Got
person.
Near the top of the game, didn't win a major. There's a lot of similarities. Quiet, doesn't say a ton.
Would he be as full-time dedicated? Like Luke Donald is clearly like this is his life. And
do you think he's going again, Luke?
Yeah. I don't know why you wouldn't do it. He seemed exhausted. They were chanting 2 more years. What was funny was he's like, no comment, no comment. One of his kids walking off the 18th when they were finally leaving the celebration. I think the oldest girl was like chanting like 2 more years, 2 with the crowd as they were doing it. I found that funny.
Is going 2 more years against like the spirit of the competition?
Oh, no. Get out of here!
Get out of here!
When you have a winner, did you ride that winner?
I can't think it's against the spirit of the whole thing.
No, I think that they should get to a point where they have to enforce term limits.
Yeah. You have like Strom.
I think they should just keep going.
George Washington,
until
you step down after 2. It's somebody else's turn.
The question was, would you? I would if the goal was to win the Ryder Cup.
Well, they're not going to lose on European soil. So the downside,
they might lose. I mean, they're playing an American Fazio course next time.
Shane Lowry says you don't have to change the beds at Adair. This is a nice little advertisement for Adair Menor. Radical question. Would you put Keegan Bradley back in power for continuity's sake?
No. I apparently he really wants to do it.
I could see that being
like
the case.
I really wants to be the captain at Adair.
I feel bad. Played 2, captain 1, lost all 3. You want to send him back into the breach once more? You wouldn't do it.
No, I would not.
I think he's probably learned.
I think he probably has learned, but I think there's enough red flags.
All right, we'll get into this.
I mean, I don't think. Here's the thing: you see Luke. Like these Euros say, like it's a full-time job. He's played a little bit, but playing takes a back seat. Do you think Keegan Bradley's going to shut it down the next 2 years? What's he going to be trying to do? He's going to try and auto-qualify for points.
I mean, what did he fit? He was in Atlanta. He was in the Tour Championship.
That's
right?
He's 8th in the world. Do you think they would have won if Keegan had played? It's not a crazy question.
They would have, because it would have taken him out. It would have taken him out of making decisions to send Colin Morikawa and Harris English out together to get woodshedded.
Well, maybe the data told him. It sounds like he wanted to listen to his intuition more.
Do they have bad data, guys?
Maybe. Who could say?
I mean, it seems like Europe is, scratching their head in amusement, chuckling at some of the data.
That was something that we heard. That there was a lot of celebrating on Europe's side when they saw pairing.
Some of the lineups. They might have bad data, guy. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing with data is like you can manipulate it different ways, and data. They say data doesn't lie, but there are different ways to look at particularly basic golf data and construe what actually happened.
One point of hard data. Victor Hovland and Harris English got a half point. Does the envelope rule need to go away? The American people were furious.
Did you see Keegan
in his press conference?
Yeah.
No.
He was like, I'm not going to talk about what I think, but it absolutely needs to get out of here.
I think I did see one.
So he
said no disrespect to Victor. Nothing against Victor. The rule needs to change by the next Ryder Cup.
Yes.
I was there for the European press conference. They asked Luke Donald. There was audible laughter from across the dais. Like, oh my God, really?
Yeah, because the questioner said, like, Keegan Bradley says the rule needs to change.
And they laughed.
Yeah.
And Luke said, the rule's been in place since the early 70s. I think it was 79, actually. Steve Pate, the most famous or infamous use of the rule. Americans benefited from that, technically. They did. Sam Torrance has been okay, that's the precedent.
That's an amazing recall from Luke, too, knowing, like, all the cases of the envelope rule.
I think he was probably briefed on it today. He was locked and loaded on the envelope rule.
I mean, but this is the thing. Think about who the U.S. has sent out there the last few Ryder Cups. Like, this goes to the seriousness of, like, how Europe approaches this, where the captain knows because somebody told him about it, versus, like, what Zach in Rome or Keegan this week. Being like, I just think that there's a level of seriousness on the other side.
Apparently he told Keegan last night that Victor wasn't going to play so that he could set up the lineup as an easy out, an easy scratch. So you're not like all of a sudden there's a hole in the middle and everything's bumping up one. And he put Harris English last.
Poor Harris English.
And it really looked like this was going to be the difference. I mean, there were people. Victor came out and was following Fitzy Bryson for a while, and they're like, "You look fine. You look okay to me." Like these doofuses.
He should have put one of those those neck braces that you get after being in a car accident on.
Should have had that. You should have had the Paul Pierce wheelchair going, just like sending him around for. Why do you need a wheelchair with the shoulder injuries? Like, I don't know. I'm busted up. He was obviously he probably wanted to play. He looked. Victor's pretty unemotional dude in these. He's what is it? Okay, Scandinavian. I think they're Scandinavian, Norwegian, obviously, but he's pretty deadpan fella. He looked emotional in the press conference when they were talking about it. He didn't get a question, but he looked like super sad, almost like he was going to get emotional. He wanted to play.
One of the moments of the press conference, they put all of these people up there. So you've got the captain, all 12 players, and all the questions go to
Rory,
the captain or the star players. Like, nobody else gets questions. And Fitzy took his microphone off the table.
That was pretty funny. Fitzy.
Because he knew nobody was going to ask him a question.
That was pretty good. He just took it and put it down. And took a grenade from Rory saying, who's going to party? And they said, Fitz has got to fill out his stat sheet from the day.
That'd be like Bryson going to drink chocolate milk and prepping for the long drive. Fitzy's just getting ready for the Sanderson next week. Hey, do you think it was fair that these guys all went to the Pro Corps?
I have it in my notes. There should be a mutiny. This is Lanto's out there fighting for his life to get to the Bay Current Classic. And these guys can't even go win the Ryder Cup after, blockading their other playing opportunities.
Taking more of their points.
I was going to say, do you think Lanto's just sitting on the couch this weekend being like, these guys just
they took up Pro Course spots and couldn't even make it competitive. Do you think there should be a half point? There seems to be great debate about this. LaMagna was in here before we went live saying, this can't be the rule.
It's a bad rule. It feels outdated.
It is. It's akin to another sport. Like the starting quarterback gets hurt. Like, oh wait, we're just gonna play.
They had this happen in college golf with Bo Hostler. Remember when he got?
How can I forget? No! The club goes flying. He's like,
I think it was at Eugene Country Club.
It was Oregon. Yeah. I remember it well. Remember where it was?
That I don't think I'll ever forget that golf swing. That and Mito Pereira. 2 swings I'll never forget in my life. But when they had to play without him, and they just forfeited a match. And people were like, "This is ridiculous," because you couldn't sub. There was no substitute. They had somebody else there, but they weren't allowed to sub them in.
Yeah, it's pretty clear. It's stupid. Like
Alex Norton should have just subbed in and played.
Yeah, you either have to sub.
But then Alex Norton wouldn't have been able to fulfill his assistant captain duties. Because to me, the assistant captains are like the most ridiculous.
Dodo.
Not Dodo, but like, what did Gary Woodland do all week? Because I saw him just like taking orders from caddies to get range balls. And I like Gary Woodland.
You love
and
Gary Woodland.
I was watching this happen. I'm like, this caddy's ordering Gary Woodland around to go get him freaking range balls. Like, this is a major champion.
A guest on my bingo card. I did not have Gary Woodland getting cooked on this podcast, and the list of things America
I didn't cook him.
has to be responsible for.
I would add Sneds. I would add Kisner. I would add Webb.
Kisner's just interested in fighting.
He does seem to be stirring it up.
He stirred it up in the President's Cup,
too. Multiple,
yeah,
dust-ups now.
Most vivid memories of Paris is when Zach Johnson was an assistant captain, and he brought his caddy to drive the cart around.
Damon Green, the Birdman. Yeah,
like, there is no, like, that's the kind of thing that America worries about, while Europe is like swapping out the beds in the hotels.
They care about like the gown allowance and stuff like that.
But hold on. I do want to say, and I think I do agree with this. I just don't want. I want to avoid us talking out both sides of our mouth. If American captain was talking about how he was swapping out this stuff so that the players were comfortable, we'd probably be saying they're pampered Fs.
Fair. I was trying to think of a way to push back, but nope, I think we would have. But we have probably more.
It works when you win.
Is there anyone on the European side you find to be unlikable? I think there were probably times when Sergio for sure an era, Poulter an era. The team right now, I'm not sure. I like they probably have several pampered Fs, but I don't know that I look around. I mean, Shane Lowry can be too much of a red ass for my liking sometimes, but like he's too quick to be angry at other people. Like no one's trying to jam you, but I like he's my kind of guy. I don't think I dislike anybody on that team.
Where someone from England like interviewed the Long Islanders about why they're yelling offensive things, and they were talking about Rory. And they were like, why are you yelling these things at Rory? It's because we love him. Because we freaking love him. That's why. Because he's the best player, and we got to give him some grief. It's like a very much like a Long Island kind of mentality. These people don't really hate
love
Rory.
You, so we want to tell you you're terrible. I don't find anyone that unlikable. That makes sense. But we might call them pampered Fs if they did this for the American side.
I don't think I think that's one of the things. I think they also are that just generally a little less showy.
Would Harris English have been your envelope guy?
I don't think so. I might have put Morikawa in the envelope.
It just doesn't seem. It seemed like Morikawa is a contemporary of Keegan's too much. 2-time major winner.
I just think like Harris English.
Yeah, he should have been in the envelope. I would agree with you, though. But it's harder.
He was like one of your top point qualifiers.
It's true.
B, he finished runner-up in 2 majors that were won by Scotty. Okay? And, like, to me, that stuff matters. Like, I guess, like,
I was surprised.
I'm absolutely, like, not – I don't love the Ryder Cup point system, like how they come to like getting who's on the team.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's kind of crazy that J.J. Spawn and Harris English barely played. J.J. Spawn was second in points, or in the Ryder Cup points.
Yeah.
He is seventh in strokes gained tee to green on the PGA Tour. He won the U.S. Open at Oakmont. He won a FedEx Cup playoff event. And he's been a machine tee to green. He lost the Players in a playoff. He's been a machine tee to green. And he didn't play, I don't want to harp on it too much. He did not play alternate shot, which is probably the format he's best suited for.
4-ball. Didn't play 4-ball.
Foursomes.
Yeah. He played alt shot twice with Mark.
J.J. Spawn did.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was talking about
I'm talking
Harris
about
English.
Spawn.
Yeah, yep.
And then Harris English, who's just a very class player, really solid player.
Yeah.
He just doesn't ever play his own ball this week. He's one of your 8 best players without question. Without question, one of your 8 best players. And he just doesn't play his own ball all week. I think it's just crazy to me. And
I don't think he should have been the envelope guy. I would agree with you, but these are the political
and guess what?
calculations that came in.
I mean, I think their Sunday lineup was about as good as it could have been because it's insane that they even made it close.
So much fight. They seem to be having fun. They
were having fun because they got to play individually, not as a team.
I thought about that. I watched them and was kind of near them as they all it felt like they were becoming a real team, but it was just too late. I'm sure they were a real team the whole time. I didn't mean it that way, but it felt truly like they were really enjoying each other, and that winning can help. But nobody's having more fun out there, I don't think, than Xander and Spawn. They were just effing around together the whole day, having so much fun. I think Scotty. I guess we could go through one by one. We'll do grades here. Let's just do grades. Let's get
start
going.
with grades. PJ, you're running the grade machine.
Let's go to Europe.
Tommy Fleetwood.
We're going A through F here. That's the scale. Yeah. An A.
A. I mean, he's incredible. It's amazing to see, what a Ryder Cup player he's become since really, Golf National, obviously. He was sensational. Rome, he was sensational. This week, he was sensational. Guy is unbelievable.
Absolute A. He's going to be a lion in this thing for it feels like a long time.
You think he's going to
take the Rose role?
Do you think Rose, gun to your head, does we'll go to Rose next.
That's where I was going to go. So.
Okay.
Rose, I'm giving an A.
I'm going to give Rose an A. I eavesdrops in on he was doing a TV interview with International. He was like, look, Rome created memories for me that I will take to my grave and made me want to be here to do more of that. And now that we've done that, I want to do more of that again. And I know I'm going to be old, but I'm going to do everything I can to stay fit and keep going. I don't know if we'll see him at Adair Manor. He's going to be 48, 47. But he got an A, obviously, this week.
And he could only play. McKinley was sure to tell everybody that he was involved with the decision making. All weekend long.
They gave him a title too. I don't know.
Special advisor, right?
No, director of strategy or something. That.
I could see McKinley taking a run at that captaincy and a dare.
I think he was trying to set himself up for that on television. Yes, I do.
How about Rose while we're grading him out?
Front foot or his back foot at the moment?
I think he's definitely on the front.
McKinley had himself a good day.
But with Rose, you give him an A. I like gun to your head. Does he make the team?
No, probably not. If I did guess, although I think Europe's in a position where if it's close, they should just keep trying to keep the same 12 guys as much as possible, and maybe
they get fucking cooked. I was thinking about this. It's how bad would Tommy Fleetwood have to play? in order to not make a team.
Right.
Like
I think
what
you'd have to get like legitimately injured, like something that you just couldn't. Cover.
Yeah, I'm saying
like,
within
in
reason.
terms of like
you
the
don't lock
next
it
team.
down.
Like
yeah.
what would Tommy Fleetwood have to do to not be on the next
Fall
team?
to like 78th in the world, and even then, I'm not sure.
That's what I was thinking, and then that's how you start to get cooked as a you're captain,
holding on to the past too much.
Because that's what the Americans did all those years.
Right.
The boys' club.
I think Rose, if gun to my head, he probably won't make it, but I think he's going to try.
I mean, if he bottles up the putting from this week, as he said in the presser.
Gotta figure out how to use it the other 25 weeks of the year.
He did say there's a lot of pressure on the putter. The putter is a huge key, and obviously the way the golf course was set up this week, the putter was a very, very key club in the bag. Just telling a straight-up piece of S putting contest, to quote John Rupp.
Yeah.
That was funny. A for Rosie boy. What else do we have?
Turl.
I'll give him a. I mean, I think all the guys. I think he played 5.
He got subbed in for. He played 4. He got
played
subbed
4?
in for Hovland last night.
So he played 4. I think, like, honestly, all the guys that played 4+ were like gas.
Yeah, and I think they're like pretty much A's. Maybe Ludwig not.
I'll give Tyrrell A-.
Okay. He went 3-0.
He was
1.
awesome though.
He went 3-0-1.
Oh, I guess I'll give him an A.
Out first. We're going AAA for Rose Fleetwood Hat.
No, you go.
I mean, he's so good. I watched that match with yesterday with Rom, the alternate shot match in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy just made so many putts that he needed to make. It just like rising to the moment, making birdies on top. It was. They were so good. I just think like that Rose or that Hatton Rom pairing is such a good fit, personality wise.
Well,
like
they've crossed the Rubicon. You can't come back from it.
I mean, but that's when you're gonna lock in. I think if they're both like we just talked about on the edge.
I do wonder like where Hatton would be in the world of golf if he hadn't gone to live. Like how many tour wins would he have? Because he's won a bunch over there. I just think he's a world class player.
I would give him an A too. Like,
and he's gotten so much better. Like I think this is like the thing that we lose our minds a little bit with like young guns and like the promise of hope with these like kids. It's like nobody when Tyrrell Hatton burst on the scene was like, that guy is going to be a top 10 player.
Right.
But like the guy has worked his ass off, and I think it's super impressive that he's gotten better when he's been at Live. There's not a lot of players that you could quantifiably say are like a different class player after they left for Live in the right direction. You could say that about a lot of players that went and have dropped levels. But man, Tyrrell Hatton, it's like, and you just like would never have seen it from Tyrrell Hatton, because I remember at Whistling Straits being like, this guy is not even in the same ballpark as these other guys, and now you turn around and 1 year later you're like, is this guy the fifth best guy here this week? Third best guy here this week? Like legitimately.
Yeah. He's an A. Speaking of Rom, go to Rom next.
That's where I was going.
To your point about Liv, there were a few times like Saturday, I was like, God, it would be nice to see him more often. I know we're allowed to watch Liv, and I'm not like precluded from watching Liv, but I mean, in real tournaments that Rom goes for, and I know he's done well at Liv. He's done all right at majors.
He could
better
always
this
go
year.
back to the Amex for another putting contest if he was interested.
He was so freaking good this week, and I know he lost last night and then lost again today. But those first 3, like, that was kind of like that's all she wrote.
I think he had nothing in the tank today.
But they put pretty much the U.S. in the ground with one hand just kind of cleaning with all that stuff they did in the first 3 sessions. And he was incredible. I know he only got 3. I think he got 3 points. He went 3 and 2. Between Rahm, Rory, and Fleetwood, they got 10 points. Ed Hatton, they got 13.
It's crazy.
I know Rahm. I know Hatton and Rahm probably double up there, but like those guys are.
They're the rock.
Yeah,
that's the big time players, right?
Right.
Like and I think that's like where the U.S. has changed since Whistling Straits is if you look at the two teams, the U.S. hasn't replaced Brooks and DJ to where they were like dominant forces. They've added, Scotty, but it's kind of Scotty and everybody else.
Yeah. Rob, it was so good to see him. He felt like he was the best player on the golf course there for a day and a half. A for him, even with the losses, I would still give him an A.
You're soft.
He doesn't get the
this college class. I'd love to be in this.
He doesn't get the shine or the attention. It seems like anymore for some reason. Like all the questions go to Rory, but God, he's going to be the pillar for next decade.
I mean, Xander took him to the woodshed today.
I know, 4-3.
Barely got across the road.
I understand. I just like so much happened in those first 2 days that made today almost irrelevant.
I didn't really ever think that this was in question. But can you imagine what we'd be saying if the U.S. team had managed to pull it out? Like all-time collapse.
It was,
and if you go down the list, like none of the big names won
for Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no one won besides Ludwig.
Ludwig just took, I don't know. I think it was like a classic, like really hard situation to get up for where the other team has nothing to lose at that point. They've already been completely embarrassed. And you, like, seemingly, as Lowry said, like, I didn't expect to have the chance to have the putt to retain the cup.
Yeah.
I thought, like, with all of our guys going out early, that someone was going to get it done before me.
Yep. Who's next?
Let's just go to Ludwig then.
B minus.
I was gonna say C.
He wasn't very good.
C plus. I don't think he was reliable.
I think he was really good though in 2 matches.
He went 2-2. Yeah, he was great in the opening session. And then today.
So I'm giving him a B minus.
Okay. 2-2 for Ludwig. I was gonna go C.
I think it is kind of like emblematic of his year.
Yeah, that's
where
fair.
there was like some good stuff, some inconsistencies, and I'm curious. Like I think there are a lot of really promising young players in the game, and I think we're there with Ludwig right now. Is he's still just a promising young player, and I don't think we're where we would have expected him to be in terms of everything.
RSM.
Yeah,
can't still dine out on the RSM.
Yeah,
we don't need to get into a Ludwig discussion, I suppose.
But I think
you would think we'd be farther along by now.
He had another win this year. He had Tory.
Yeah.
So we need just another step forward.
Let's say he's going to play every Ryder Cup for the next 10 years.
I think he's going to be there. And I think that's where you have the expectations because you see it.
Yep.
Is the big thing.
I'm just going to go C for him because he's felt pretty unreliable there at times, but
he was so bad yesterday.
We're grading on a scale here where a lot of guys were amazing. Yep.
Much maligned entering this week, Matthew Fitzpatrick improved his Ryder Cup record substantially.
Honestly, Fitzy, I'm taking into account the 1-7 coming in. I'm giving Fitzy an A.
I'm giving him an A too.
He balled out.
He was hooping for a while.
Bryson played awesome, and I know he quote unquote blew a 5 It was a blast to watch him go. Just put Bryson in a blender where he's screaming at himself on the green. You know, Bryson would make a 20-footer and go to the crowd and do all the pump-up stuff. And then Fitz would come over the top and make his 15-footer. And then he did the, like, quiet down. He did the little too short almost.
Yeah.
It was awesome. He felt like it was of a lineage of, like, Rose, right? It was. I wasn't saying it was all the way there, but he was a blast to watch today. I know he didn't get it fully across the line. So impressive. One of my big notes of following them and like this whole Europe just makes more putts talking point. Think about Bryson qualified on points in like 0 events, right? He got there on points. That's how good he has been in the most important, biggest events. Fitzy had to go play in Switzerland, Kranz, to make the team. He had to play the British Masters, go to Kranz. Like Donald's like, you got to keep playing through August, and didn't make it through FedEx. And like there they were, they're different in the Ryder Cup. It's a totally different player, and Fitzy's just body bagging him for like 3 hours, and U.S. can't get points from their top guns because like it's just a different dynamic that Europe's created for their players.
Of all the people in that room, I was thinking, he might be the best future captain.
Fitz,
European
for
side.
sure.
Well,
with
he'll
the
be
data,
scribbling in his
with the
data
data,
book.
yeah.
Like that. How many future captains are in that room? Like, there's a lot of. There's going to be kind of a log jam, and some like Rom's going to want to do it. Rory's going to want to do it. Rose is going to want to do it. Like, I think, but Fitzy to me seems like he might be the one who gets it the most in the way they all kind of do their system.
Yeah, no, I think he'll be a great captain, if I'm being honest. I think
Fitzy's what, 28, 29, 30 maybe?
Yeah, feels like it. He's an A for me, for sure. 2-1-1. The Ryder Cup, the record stuff was bogus to me. I never really thought that was a reflection on him. Who do we have next?
Let's go to Victor Hovland.
I mean,
incomplete.
NA.
DNF.
He went 1-1-1. For my purposes, he'd probably be like a C minus. He was
I
injured.
think a C.
The tie obviously is not from playing.
Didn't
also, like, unsure how the shoulder was all week.
Yeah.
You know, neck.
An incredible human being. One of my favorite quotes. I mean, he was great to follow. He was so engaged. Colin Jost was asking him for a chipping lesson between 14 and 15. He's like, all right, man, I just want to watch this match. I love Hovland, but I'm going to give him a C.
Maybe he could have been. He was saddled with Bob too.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
I mean,
Big shot, Bob.
I watched that whole match yesterday. I wouldn't say Victor Hovland was the problem personally, but
who's next?
oh,
you
do
wouldn't
Bob
say
while we're here.
you wouldn't say Victor Hovland was the problem.
You'd say Bobby Mack was the problem?
Oh, I meant I wouldn't say Bob was the problem in that.
I think Victor Hovland was hurt.
McIntyre, I don't know, a B minus. Went 1-1-1.
I
think
think
it's fair.
Wasn't
I'm
a
gonna give him
huge
a C+.
liability.
I think it's in tradition from last year, or the last time the Ryder Cup was held. If I slander Bob, he'll just take his game to the next level.
Thank you. Keep doing it.
That's why I think it might just have to be a thing. This
Absolute gift of a have today. With slamming
Sammy.
Deputy Sam just 3-putting his way out.
The sheriff.
B minus.
The sheriff was looking on. He probably got nervous.
Who's next?
Shane Lowry.
It's a tough one.
It is a tough one.
He wasn't great until
No.
the last 4 or 5 holes.
But he had
I'm
some amazing standout moments.
That's the thing.
The
And
highs were super high.
So he went 1-0-2.
Yes. He has he has 2 full points.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep.
1-0-2.
Yeah.
I'll give him a B. I think maybe a B plus. The highs were so high. The 3 birdies in the last 4 holes to get the point that retained the cup. Like, if he doesn't do this, honestly, the Americans might have won.
Yeah. I think him putting it inside of Henley after Henley hit that bunker shot it felt like it just put a plug in the drain as water was quickly seeping out of the tub for Europe. I do think that was critical. I know he celebrated and there was like, what are you celebrating for? You just, it's a half and you got this envelope thing still in the air. I thought while we're on Lowry, he said, speaking to sort of what it means for the Europeans, I said to my caddy walking down 18, I've got an opportunity to do the greatest thing I've ever done today. That's freaking ballsy nuts anecdote to hear. You think he said that as he's walking? I've got an opportunity to do the greatest thing I've ever done right now. As he goes up, that's a sick quote. He's won a major.
It's amazing to be like conscious of that in the moment.
Yeah.
Not just like panicking.
Yeah.
To actually have the mental capacity
Rory,
to process that.
Rory said something in his one of the off to the side TV interviews that was like, Shane's major was like a walk in the park, kind of final round where there wasn't like a lot of stress, and he was like, this is gonna stick with him and help him so much because in this moment. He literally went out and won it.
It was awesome.
Under the highest pressure that you could. And I think that's why people love the Ryder Cup so much is because it feels like the moment you watch 4 days of competitive golf for at the end of a major or the end of even a PGA Tour event where all these things have this super high consequence. And it's really why there should be more match play. I mean, if I was talking to Brian Rolap, I'd be like, if you want your people to pay attention more to your sport, you need to have more moments of significance.
Yeah.
And that's what match play does. Is it just creates these incredible moments of tension, and that's what you love in sports. And I think that's where Lowry finishing with 3 birdies in the last 4 holes, just under pressure that you would feel in a major.
Yep.
Because these guys are playing for their teammates too. Peach,
Yeah.
you spent the day with Ben Griffin and Rasmus Højgaard.
I did.
What I didn't watch any of Rasmus Højgaard's shots.
Nobody did because they were not on TV
this week. Can you give us the Rasmus Højgaard grade?
A D. I don't think I'd give him an F. He made a couple
He's
nice putts.
the lone bagel boy.
He's the only bagel boy.
Yeah.
The Americans got out of the bagel shop today.
He pushed
Big time.
pushed BG. That match was kind of a pillow fight, just going back and forth. I will say Rasmus, I believe, is the only guy of the week to go in the water on 8, which is pretty hard to do. It's not easy to do. Barely even hit it. Pretty much landed in the water on the fly. I think it's a D at best, a D minus. If you wanted to give him an F, it's fine.
Can you be candid?
Yeah.
What went through your mind when Andy said, "Why don't you do the Griffin Højgaard match?"
I certainly didn't think it was going to be a pivotal moment of the day.
Who'd you get to spend some time out there with?
Maybe a former American Ryder Cup captain, fellow UNC Tar Heel, Davis Love.
A fellow.
Well, Ben Griffin. He's out there. There was a big Tar Heel contingent for BG. You see these. We'll do this now.
Michael Jordan wasn't following him?
No, Vince was though.
Vince Carter.
Vince was. You see these matches, and there's always 1,000 people inside the ropes: family members, corporate people, PGA board members,
randoms.
It
was outrageous.
You can count the people.
Son-in-law, somebody that owns a BMW dealer.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. It was ridiculous.
You can count the people following that match on 2 hands. It was me, Davis Love, 4 Ben Griffin family members, Rasmus's girlfriend, 2 women from American Airlines who were super into it for some reason. It was at any given moment, it was 7 to 12 people following that match.
Scotty Rory I would have guessed, had to have
it was so
100.
many people. No, 100.
Couple hundred?
A couple hundred. I mean, it was insane. It was
so bad. The Rory match I followed, I was come on.
Honestly, it made me like question what I was doing there at times. Whenever I'm around a lot of people, I wonder what I'm doing somewhere.
Should I be somewhere else? Yeah.
Well, you missed a banger on the Rasmus Ben Griffin. Yeah, I'd give him a D. I think today he held his own against Ben Griffin. You know what is that worth? I guess, but I think he held his own today.
Who else do we have
Sepp
left?
Straka.
We got Sepp.
The tank.
Listen. Sepp had a rough go coming into this.
Personal.
With he hasn't played a lot of golf, and all I'm gonna say is they called. He's probably worried about conditioning when your offensive lineman hasn't played in a while. And the first play call they had was a pulling guard. He just burst onto the outside and cracked the linebacker. Sepp gets a B.
They did not establish the run there. Rom, Straka, and then Lowry kind of saved their bacon with a chip block at the end there.
Shane came in for the 4-minute. They needed to end the game. They brought Shane in for the 4-minute.
Straka gets, fine, a B. He's done it twice now. He's not been a huge liability. Has made some good partnerships.
No, you kind of know what you're getting when you throw him.
Yeah.
And he's beloved.
He's beloved. First team partier, according to Hatton, right? I think Hatton said he's the big time partier.
Oh, last one's Bob. Oh, did we do Bob?
We did Bob. The last one is Rory McIlroy.
Oh.
God. What do we have to say about Rory? Says it's the greatest year of his life, and career-wise.
Makes
obvious sense.
You'd think that. You know what he doesn't have, though?
What's that?
A win at the SoFi Dome.
You know who he also doesn't have?
Nicholas
Jacklin Award.
Tommy Fleetwood, your winner.
Next one he's gunning for that Nicholas Jacklin Award.
Can they give it to 3 straight Europeans?
I don't think there's an American that you can give
Scotty
it to.
tried.
Right now.
In his career. Don't even think that's Scott's got Scotty written all over it.
Yeah, it does. It does have. I mean, he did say, "Can we just chill out, guys?"
He tried.
He almost broke up a fight.
His caddy started a fight.
Yeah, that maybe Ted
that
Scott
held against him.
Ted Scott is the reason. I do think I don't know. I talked about this in the lead up about Rory winning this and all the things it does. It's absolutely a wild year. I know Scotty's year statistically is better. I know that winning 2 majors is better than winning 1, and the Players is not a major, and he won more events total. But the idea of winning Pebble Beach when you've never won at Pebble Beach, a second Players, completing the career Grand Slam at the Masters, winning your home Open, and then winning an away Ryder Cup is pretty spectacular. Away Ryder Cup you called 2 years ago. I'll give Rory an A.
I'll give him an A plus maybe, given the circumstances. I know he lost today.
And I think the bigger thing is the way he set the tone or in the first 2 days of the matches.
I mean, he was the main character of the Ryder Cup, and he delivered. He delivered this year. I think it doesn't seem like there's any sort of resentment or jealousy from any of the other players at all. They love his leadership, even for someone like Rahm. Right, he and Rahm seem to get along great. And you would think Rahm's, I'm coming up. I've got number 1 player in the world, majors, and they seem to get along great. Everyone seems to kind of almost be rally and protective of him. With the shit he dealt with this week. He got really emotional when Luke was talking about him, as a connective tissue from prior generation to this one, the last home, away Ryder Cup win. Called the shot and went and did it as the sort of main character and leader of the other team, and he was amazing to watch. He's an A plus. Kisses to the crowd. He was great. He was great. A plus for Rory McIlroy. He made this Ryder Cup. what it was.
We want to pivot.
Do you have the
other side
captain?
now?
Captain gets an A+.
Okay,
Luke
yeah,
Donald, A+.
Luke Donald, A+.
Unequivocally.
Are we doing all the assistant captains? Where do you give
Yeah,
Thomas
let's go all the
Bjork?
way through.
Dodo, I think. Dodo
I don't
gets
know.
a visionary A+.
The American team grades might come out next episode, to be completely honest.
What else we got? Let's go America real quick.
Scotty Scheffler.
Like a
C minus.
A C minus. Yes, that's what I was going to say. With Scotty, my one observation from him is he seems to be, unlike Tiger when it comes to this, he seems to be super, there's a level of collegiality there. Like, he is clearly the very best player in the room by a wide margin, but he'll play with whoever. He'll go wherever you want him to. He kind of, this week, it seems like he wanted to become more of like the leader. He was apologizing to his team. He had a lot of his, like, Keegan was like, I can't tell you enough about like what Scotty's doing. And it felt completely believable in the team room of like trying to rally. I think he and Xander truly are trying to, I don't know if they're going to be able to do it well, given the disadvantages they're at. But I was really impressed with Scotty today. And how he kind of spoke up for Bryson in a way. He sort of led the show as the team gathered to the left of the 18th green. Obviously, the awful shot into 18
Early in the week
was pretty much it. You know, like if he's going to be hitting that shot, you're kind of like, we're cooked. And he finally got off the bagel schneid. That's not good. So C minus, but I do think he's become like a real viable, legit leader of this team. Not quite to Rory yet, but could be that kind of role.
Yeah, I think this will stick with him. Like he probably was pretty embarrassed by his performance, and I think that'll probably be a good thing for the U.S. team in the long run because that Rory match with Scotty today was pretty bad golf, like legitimately awful golf. It was two guys that were completely out of energy playing golf, like a total pillow fight.
Right.
And obviously he kind of eked out the 1-up win, and you could tell that he really did not want to lose. Strangest thing I saw today was Scott Scheffler.
Mm-hmm.
His dad
was
handing out poker chips to every police officer.
Like
he
mementos?
had this they were like Ryder Cup.
Brothers in Arms type stuff though.
But like he had like a bag full of these poker chips.
You just got there.
I got it because he's a policeman. Got it.
And he was handing out all these poker chips, and then like a fan was yelling at Rory. And he called him over. And half these people didn't know who he was.
I'm sure most of them did.
Like nobody knows what Scott Scheffler looks like. This guy yelled at Rory something, and he pulled him over, and he gave him a poker chip. And then he talked. Well, I was very interested. I was like, is he
too.
So he was talking to him. This guy said something bad,
Uh-huh.
and he handed him a poker chip. I was so mesmerized by the poker chips. Not gonna lie.
Just the Ziploc bag of poker.
I was so confused.
Yeah,
what was going on?
Sure.
But anyways, he talked to the guy for a minute, and I saw this guy, and I think he said something about not doing that because he was in the perfect position to yell at Rory as he walked by to the next tee, and he just stood there, and I could tell the guy wanted to yell, but he didn't yell. And I think he said something.
You know what this sounds like to me?
What?
Sounds like Scott Scheffler won the Good Guy Jerry Award.
I was just about to say that. I was going to say we have dueling.
That's what this sounds like.
I was going to say he won the Good Guy Jerry Award. It seems like the parents of the two leaders of each team, good guys. I was going to, in my notes from the week, I was going to give the Good Guy Jerry Award
to Jerry
McIlroy. Watched him help one of the many 800 people inside the ropes, camera guy, burlier camera fella, elderly camera fella, couldn't get up. He had his 2 cameras on each strapped on each shoulder, and he's sitting cross-legged. He's on the side of a hill at 8, might fall in the water. He goes, "Did you need a hand?" And he came, and he double cross-handed, lifted the Jerry's not 25 and strong, but I mean he's strong, he's still fit, and helped him up. I said, good guy Jerry just won his own damn award. But on the other side, we can hand out 2.
This is like the old Nicholas Jacklin Award. Each side gets a good guy Jerry.
We got Poker Chip Scott.
I couldn't believe the poker chip. So many of these cops looked at it and put it in their pocket.
Yeah.
So confused.
Yeah. There we go. Good guy Jerry.
He was going up to groups of them and handing them all poker chips.
How many podcasts are talking about this?
It was insane. I couldn't get over
This
it.
has become like a 5-minute segment on the poker chip.
What else we got? Who's next?
We'll do Cam Young, New York Zone.
Okay.
A+.
I was going to save him for last because he deserves to go last, but okay.
A+.
A+. That him burying the putt on 18 made everything possible.
Should have gone all 5.
Yeah. That putt made it all possible. Did it seem likely? No, but. And, of course, he was
I'll be honest. I thought he was going to miss. I'll be honest.
Oh, my God. That's the Jets fan in you.
I loved in his press conference, he was describing the match. They had him walk through the match, and he was like, yeah, I started out hot. I mean, I was just rolling. And then he goes, and then Justin Rose started doing things. And all of a sudden, I was like, I'm blowing it.
Justin Rose things.
Justin Rose things.
What's better, Justin Rose things or Caleb Surratt
Caleb
things?
Surratt
On the Rose scale, where does Surratt things fall?
Probably not close.
Super
impressive. If he is within range, he's got to keep coming to these teams, right?
Well, he's an absolutely dynamic
stud,
and
yeah.
This is the whole case last time when he was left off the team was how many guys can move the ball the way he moves it.
He can do a lot for you in different ways.
I don't mean for this to be a drive-by of someone.
Uh-oh. It seems like you do.
I guess I got the machine gun out. This is why you take Cameron Young and not Jordan Spieth. Because the guy can absolutely overwhelm someone. Cameron Young's ball striking, his power, his iron play were all it was breathe life. It was the only bright spot of this team for the first 2 days because it was this guy's got enough giddy up to overwhelm someone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Jordan Spieth could have played better than some of the guys on this team. But, yeah, not Cam Young.
Yeah, I tweeted about
George
Spieth last night. I said George Spieth should be on this team.
Cap Gemini would have had him at 46%, I bet.
Best. All the people that don't listen to the pod that were just saying you're crazy.
I think Cap Gemini. Anyways, go ahead. Who's next?
Let's just go back to the top. Xander Schauffele.
I think
to me.
Yeah.
I don't mean to interject.
You can interject away.
Kind of a bizarre 3 points. Played really well today, but I feel like if you told me after watching how he played the first 2 days that he got 2 points out of those first 2 days, I wouldn't have believed it.
He's 3-1. I think you give him an A.
I thought he was really good, but this again,
his putting
I think
yesterday was so bad.
If you critique Keegan. And it's easy to look back, and I know Xander hasn't had the best year, but you kind of that's one of your horses. You gotta go. You live and die with him. And he sat one session, and you look at what we just talked about with Europe, where they get 13 points out of their horses, and all those guys except for Hatton played 5 matches. And, here you've got Cam Young, your best players, your J.J. Spawn, who was second in points. played 3 matches. You know?
Yeah.
Xander, who I think he was 3rd in points, in qualifying points. And if you're saying the qualifying points don't matter, then why are they the points to qualify? You know?
That's a question. It's a fair. The
but
whole
Xander, who's
like
3rd,
task force could figure
Xander,
out.
who's 3rd in your point system, plays 4 bet. Like, shouldn't they go 5?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It's hard, but like these things like live and die on one match at a time and momentum.
I'll give him an A based on the slim pickings we're gonna have on the American side. I think he.
This is American scaled.
He body bagged Rom today. That's got to be worth something.
Yeah, it is worth something.
It does feel like he was, here's a little on the ground scene. When Shane halved to get his retention point, it became a celebration. Well, there were matches to finish, and they were kind of overflowing on the green, and a little bit of spice, nothing dramatic. He's like, hey, you guys got to get off the green. He's like, hey, get off the green, like shouting at them across the green. Move, so Griffin and the other matches could come through. I mean, he's kind of lead dog for these teams. He went 3-1. I'm going to give him an A.
He's coming into form as kind of the leader here.
And he was awful like this year. We thought he might be, he stepped up kind of in a way that wasn't totally expected based on his form.
JT.
2-2. So perfect.
B. He was better than I thought.
Okay.
I think we got a lot more. And maybe he should have played alternate shot with Bryson.
He shouldn't have?
Yeah, that was probably a mistake.
That's how you come out of the gates, and you're kind of like the PR battle.
They won the first hole, though.
They did win the first hole. You know who won the first hole? Harris English and Carl Morikawa won the first hole yesterday. We're getting blitzed.
I think JT also, like, he's become like I think the way he handled the Rory situation yesterday was pretty admirable. And I think, he'll be a Ryder Cup captain someday. I don't know how many more Ryder Cup teams he'll play on. It's an interesting question. If I gave you over under 1.5 more Ryder Cups, would you?
Over.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd say another home. And probably will play away.
Yeah.
I'll give him a nice little B. That's a good point. B, saved himself. And I think we overweighted the obviously early mess that he had. An alt shot.
JJ Spawn.
A plus, whatever you want to. Yeah.
Honestly,
delight.
Honestly, I think he deserves an A plus.
Okay, I'm with you. 2-1.
Right? Look,
you've been so Spawn conned all week. Spawn con. You're into him.
How about
you're in on JJ Spawn.
He's been great though.
I just think he was one of the best players on this team.
I mean, he was.
It's kind of crazy that 2 of their rookies, like that you're afraid to play, ended up being your probably 3 best players this week.
It's almost like you should look at the kind of totality of the season that got us here and realize that those 2 guys were really, really good.
Yeah.
Who cares if they've never done this before?
All right, Bryson. 1, 3, and 1.
C. He's got to do better. What did we give Scotty? Like a C minus.
C minus, you said.
I'll give him a C. You got to beat Matt Fitzpatrick. Great job coming back, but when he made his putt to have, he went nuts and cheered, and that was kind of a critical point to not have a half. If we were going to keep,
if
you had
you
Thomas.
Chased him all the way down, you had to finish the job a little bit there.
You had Thomas. You had Yun and
That was
Thomas.
like the most unlikely half point that he squeaked out.
I don't disagree, but you're at a point where you have mean almost nothing and making a lot to the opposite side, and you can't then go and pump up the crowd like you just won WrestleMania. It was a valiant, incredible half. But who just got the full point? Justin Thomas and Cameron Yun on 18 ahead of you. I had a blast watching him today. He was so good. But yeah, I'll give him a C.
I'm dying about that tweet that somebody sent us of the first hole celebration, or the first hole of him and Scotty, where Scotty made the putt on 1 and he turned. because he thought he thought Bryson was like coming up to congratulate him on making the putt, but he was actually just lining up his like 3-foot putt to practice. And then Scotty turns and looks at Ted like as if like, what the hell is going on?
I watched him do the same thing today at 5 after Fitzy had just buried another one to go like 3 up, and the crowd cheered because he made a practice putt.
I was walking up to that green. I was like, because I
Why
heard
are they cheering for this? He also allegedly, more Bryson rumor.
Please.
With the Rose. We went into the Rose fight a lot on Saturday night podcast. Allegedly said, "Don't be a bitch," when they were walking off. When he was yelled at Greg Bodine.
Does that surprise anybody?
No. I think this week solidified his position within the team, and I don't think that was always the case, regardless of how well he was playing.
Let's wait a little bit. Let's give this.
He's the top 2 or 3 player.
I just want to let this marinate and see when the dust settles
a little bit.
Let's see if there are any
stories. Be a New York Times article like
let's just
Patrick
see if there's
Reed
any
had.
stories that come out after this.
Yeah, he might put Ben Griffin under the bus or JT Altshada. He's got to be in there. He's got to be on the team. What he does for the he's got to for the fans. He's an absolute unit.
You know who else has to be on the team?
Who?
Playoff P.
Cantlay.
Patrick Cantlay.
Yeah.
1.5 points.
Only player who lost today.
Well, it wasn't good today. It was disappointing today.
I think this like playing 5 thing. It's a very interesting topic, and I know I've like advocated that you need to play, but to me it seemed like the Europeans were like, we're just gonna go all out during the team portion, and that's Friday, Saturday with our best players, and then we're just gonna hope that they have enough in the tank. And I don't think a lot of these guys had enough in the tank, but it's so hard because these points are so valuable.
He went 1-3-1, which will do some damage to his overall record. But
honestly, I thought he was so much better than that record.
I agree. I think he did well. He should be on these teams for as long as he's a semi-competent golfer during the season. They have him.
He made nothing today.
Yeah.
But just in general, I feel like he is so terrifying with 15 feet.
They did a handshake line after, and he was. Your reviews. Most people are like hugging and saying, "Great, valiant effort. What a week. We're exhausted. 2 Warriors are done. Exhausted."
Cantlay walking through the line was like if you met somebody at a networking event, and he was like shaking your hand goodbye. Like, it was great to see you. As he went through the line, he was just like so.
He was throwing the head nod in too.
Yeah, it was like straight out of you met somebody. Yeah.
It's a businessman.
It was incredible.
I'm gonna give him a B- just because it wasn't a great record. He deserved better.
Oh God,
what else?
We're so soft. I think I would go B- too. All right, we're on to Ben Griffin. Got a point.
It's a C-. Not playable. That's a problem. Like, you can't
not
go up.
Playable, or was the captain, unable to play him?
Captain wasn't vibing with him, huh?
Do we think that his record should be determined on one team pairing with Bryson DeChambeau? Think about that. Think about your entrance to the Ryder Cup as you get dropped into Bethpage Black with Bryson DeChambeau.
And at the time, the president, Donald Trump, that was his first ever tee shot. Trump's there, and he's dancing he's like outside of his box with Bryson.
Like looming behind the tee
And this
box.
is Ben Griffin's immersion? That's not ideal. And just a total circus. That's really challenging.
Trump, just breaking the European team did a little trolling of Donald Trump tonight. And sent him a message directly and singing songs, holding up the Ryder Cup trophy. Said, "Are you watching? Are you watching? Are you watching Donald Trump?"
Really?
Yes, they did. Rory right up front.
All right, that's good. I mean, they can do what they want. Yeah, that's fine.
He was cheering for the U.S. Ryder Cup team. They're just giving it back to him a little bit.
That's true. Totally.
I will say on BG though.
Yeah.
2 for 2 on hitting the hill on 8. on the right side of 8.
2 for 2 for missing the green by like
honestly,
34
that
yards.
might give him a D.
He's not playable for a reason because he's hitting it. He's hitting it
And
on top of the
I
hill
like
at
BG.
8.
I like BG, but he straight up smoked a fan today on 8 on the right side of that hill.
C minus BG. What else we got?
Morikawa, 0.5 points, 0-2-1 record.
Fail. F.
I agree.
Not only did we have no confidence in him coming in, he fulfilled all that lack of confidence. And he was terrible in 2 alternate shots. He, like, when the carpet was just rolled out for him today to add to the tally, keep running it up, he kind of spit the
Tyrrell
bit.
was gassed. He was not playing well.
Totally spit the bit with that. It just gave it away. That was the winning have. And F. I feel bad for him. Like, he didn't perform. But, yeah, you got to call balls and strikes here. F.
All right.
And he seems like people are increasingly sort of sour on him. I don't know if it's the dog boots or what, but
It might have been all the activations this week.
A lot of commercials.
he's doing car commercials.
Tons
commercials
of
in between, as he's
commercials.
getting body bagged in between. Are you going F for him?
I'll go D minus.
Soft.
What about Russ Bus Henley? The kitty cat himself.
I mean, I'll never forget where I was as I watched him leave it short to end it all. You knew Lowry was making it after he left it short. U.S. had so much momentum there. Those guys were so fired up. JT, Cameron Young, Bryson, Scotty, they're all there, so fired up. Now Xander, and then Russ just doesn't get it to the hole. And I was like, oh, God, what's going on?
First, misses the fairway on 18.
Yeah,
if you're
incredible
gonna,
shot,
If you're going to
though.
throw a guy to miss the fairway on 18, Russell Henley would be like my last
That is
pick.
165
Already
ball
starts
speed.
you.
Well, the problem with Henley on 18, he's one of the few players that can't carry the bunkers. So that tee shot's a little bit tougher for him than everybody else.
To his little 110-yard wedge.
Got the tee shot off one. Honestly, might have lost him the cup. The tee shot on one on Thursday.
On Friday? You're going all the way back?
You're
It was
just tone
so
setting.
It was so bad.
And at that point, it was over.
I mean, like, I think fans in the crowd were like genuinely like, wait a second, that guy's on our team.
We had a good chat about that at our Friday show. He doesn't have the speed. I'll give him God, he was so
If you
close.
look statistically, he actually played well, which is the
But
funniest
this
part.
is the
Statistics,
thing.
I
It's
know,
so
I know.
cares.
He's 0-2-1. I'm sorry not closing Shane Lowry. Like, that was a tipping point between going from like something respectable to like a B to I'm going to go like D minus.
Honestly, his face during the press conference, I felt so bad for him. It looked like I'm happy he didn't have to talk because I think if he had to talk, he was going to like break down because like I think he's carrying a lot from that finish.
It looked like it. He needed a few people to come out and console him.
Yeah,
after he left
it
the short.
was that's brutal.
Yeah, it was tough. I'm going to give him like a D.
All right, I'll go with the D too.
Who else do we have left?
Harris English.
I like a
Incomplete.
Incomplete.
Well, no, he lost.
C minus.
He lost twice.
C minus.
Points in Rasmus.
C minus. I think can't ding him too much. He was, got jammed with Morikawa. Wasn't great himself. C minus. NA for today.
Whistling.
Is that true?
He got none there.
I'll give him a C minus.
The deputy. Sam Burns.
Well, he's got to give a Harry English.
Oh, I forgot.
I've given grades on like half the players.
Yeah,
2 hour
You're
mark.
just running down the list.
I'm just, you know what? I'm gonna give Harris. I'm gonna give Harris a. I'm gonna give him an A, and I'm gonna say that he turned around the whole cup. People are gonna yell about this envelope rule forever, but the Americans had zero momentum,
Intention.
zero momentum whatsoever, and guess what? They got awarded a half point, and off to the races they went. Like, the best thing that happened to them was the half point that got them going.
That is not.
They got on their front foot.
That is just the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever heard.
Harris English,
I love this.
MVP.
He
started the run.
I do think the envelope thing seemed to piss him off, the team, that is, and motivate him. I don't know about the half point.
About the situation and being kind of pissed about it.
What was it?
There's footage of it. I guess it looks like JT
shaking
hearing
his
about
head
it
on
and being
the
like
range.
pissed about it.
Which seems like, was that scripted? Because if they did tell him last night, that maybe wouldn't have been, real time. Wouldn't the team have already known? Or maybe Keegan kept it secret. Who else do we have left? The deputy, Sam
Deputy
Burns.
is the last one.
D minus. That 3-putt on 18 was grotesque.
He got 1 point for 2 halves.
That's not okay.
Honestly, I could give him a D minus. You can't play him in one format. And then he didn't make a lot of birdies on a golf course. And I think it's really hard when somebody's like, you're on the team to make putts, just in general.
Yeah.
Like, nobody should ever frame that like the way that Keegan framed it when he picked him. He said, "Oh, he's the best putter in the world. That's why he's on the team." Because putting's variable. It's like hard to make putts. And the worst thing to make putts is to like have added pressure of you're on this team to make putts. That's like going up to a pitcher who's struggling and be like, "Hey, throw strikes."
You're on this team.
You got it. The throw strikes guy is the best guy. Don't you think they're trying to throw strikes? Don't you think Sam Burns is trying to make putts?
Right? Like it basically like I wish I would have thought about this more when the pick came out, but like that almost like locks in that a guy's gonna putt bad.
The way it puts every putt under the microscope.
Yes.
Literally every putt, which they're not all makeable. They're
No!
not all going in. Yeah. D minus though. You can't 3-putt and cough it up there at the end. I guess his match was inconsequential that time, but he wasn't super helpful. Sort of irrelevant for the Americans.
Are we to Keegan Bradley?
I was gonna say.
We've made it. We're 2 hours in.
I'm sorry. Like, I found him to be enjoyable as a person. I found him to be fairly competent as a speaker and honest, saying I made a mistake. I found him super endearing in the Saturday night press conference. I was like, wow, you know what? This is miles better than Zach as a speaker, as someone who's conveying like substance of like how they're feeling, who's doing what he's thinking. I really found him pretty endearing as a person. I'm giving him an F as a captain of the Ryder Cup team. It sounds like it was slipshod.
Botched the setup.
The motivational stuff is just not his strong suit. Luke Donald can motivate by speaking softly and hitting the right hammers. Keegan, Keegan, everything seems choreographed and forced. And then in execution, it was a mess with course setup, with lineups, with sort of just either you are the boss or you're not. So now all of a sudden caddies apparently are making input changes. Like, he has to be firmly in control. And I think what has happened with Europe is like they trust that Luke Donald knows what's up. A, because he's prepared, because he's researched, he has Dodo with him. And so they're like, "Oh, so you think I should play with this person?"
It gives them confidence.
That's the right. I trust that there's effort put behind that. on the U.S. side this week, it almost felt like
they're like tiptoeing around.
It's a combination of things.
It's also partly players in their egos' fault, right?
Yeah.
Like it feels like you couldn't come in and be like, this is what we're doing, this is the system we're running, because the players would say, that's not how it goes here. That's how it feels to me. I don't know if that's the case, but I don't think Keegan really had like a great system laid out also. But like, I think the players are part of the problem.
And he's kind of always been that outsider. So one, is he, by his own admission, is he like trying to be one of the buddies with them? Does that make it harder to tell these guys, no, Colin, you got to sit? Is it, is he like determined to slam his head into a wall because he thinks it might work? And so just so you can tell the haters they're wrong? I mean, if I have to hear the Bill Belichick do your job quote anymore, I'm going to like jump off the ledge. I am so sick of hearing do your job. Some dumbest quote ever. I'm sorry. Bill Belichick, great coach. Who cares? That doesn't mean anything. I thought it appeared that he didn't have control of the team. It felt like he was a good, passionate person about the Ryder Cup, really honored and to be the leader and a good leader in that way, but it felt like he didn't have control of the full operation in the way he should.
Yeah, it just feels like he was set up to fail by an organization that's totally rudderless. I think the grade is fair, but I think structurally they jammed him in it. Like, picked a guy who still has to play for part of his career, like to make a living, instead of someone who's kind of done and not a competitive player anymore. And so he was put in like an impossible spot in some ways to succeed.
Yeah, I want to add maybe you can't look like you're totally in control because he's trying to do a lot of stuff and Luke Donald's been fully dedicated to this now for almost like 3.5 years.
I think the analytics guys might have jammed him too. Like him implying that in the thing saying, I wish I'd have trusted my instincts. I'm not sure the American analytics team knows how to convey the information or what to do with it. They might be giving him way too much information. Like it's just, I think their data system is way, way flawed compared to the Europeans.
That's a good point. Keegan, did you give him a grade? Are you with me on the F bus?
I'll give him a D. He rallied the troops today. They didn't give up.
Yeah.
I think that's like the thing. They would have rolled over. Maybe I'll give him a C. I'll give him a C.
What?
Yeah, I'm going to talk myself into it because the guys didn't roll over.
God.
They played. I didn't expect
all right,
that to
maybe
be
he
interesting.
wasn't enough. All right, you're confused. I
didn't expect that to be competitive at all. I thought they were going to get to 20 today.
I did like
they barely won.
I did like how he came riding in like Zorro on a horse to tell Justin Rose he couldn't drop there. I watched the governor get turned off on that cart essentially go flying by me in the Bryson match. Like flying up 13. It's like, oh, that thing's going like 30 miles an hour.
Was back,
giving it to that referee for
and
a good 10 minutes afterwards.
What was the tee box to like in the middle of the trees. And of course, Rose stuck it to like 5 foot and made the birdie and won the hole. So, it was a fun cart ride that led to that was fun to watch.
Didn't they make him redrop it?
In a totally different space.
He dropped it the first time. And then he picked it up because he wanted to drop it on the 14th tee box.
Yes.
And then they made him re-drop it in the first spot again.
And then that resulted in 350 people inside the ropes being all in one hole as the matches got backed up all the way from Scotty to Rory.
350. I think that was 1,000.
Come on. Just random people. It's unbelievable.
Couldn't believe it. I don't know.
Big ups to Keegan for riding fast on a cart. But no, all right, I'm going to go up from F to D minus, a D. He clearly cared a lot, and I think he was put in a bad spot by the organization. So, but again, you're the one that's sending these lineups out like cannon fodder on Friday when we know these things are obvious from data, from what you watched the day before with Markow in English. Like, that's the whole, like, Rosetta Stone for why this all went wrong. That one decision.
Yeah.
And you could apply it to a lot of others.
A flyover would inspire the team.
Did he say the flyover would inspire?
Yeah, we just had a flyover. The president's here. I think he'll inspire us to have a better afternoon.
I mean, he's just got to say shit at that point. Are we done with grades? Mercifully?
I think we're done with everything.
What about Long Island? Long Island fans.
Oh, Long Island fans.
PJ?
F. I never want to. I never want to come to another golf event
my
at
God.
Bethpage Black after this.
It's making enemies now.
Did I tell you this was going to happen? Did I tell you this exact take was going to happen, or did I tell you this exact take was going to happen? I didn't think it was going to come with you.
Every time I was able to see someone who was saying something, I was like, yeah, that looks about right. From what I heard.
Like,
Worse than F, like expulsion from school.
I found myself today, like, on the precipice of yelling at people. Like, I myself was contemplating in my head saying, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I thought
like multiple times today. I just was like, I was worn out by it.
I got to the point where I would just start making eye contact with them to try and make them feel like because I wanted to start turning and saying, like,
to make them acknowledge that
you're a fucking
somebody
idiot.
heard it.
Yeah. But like to make them feel stupid.
Yeah.
And so I would just, like, someone would shout as we were going from a green to a tee, and I would just, like, turn and look them right in the eye, and then just, like, keep walking.
This may or may not surprise you.
Not that I'm anything menacing. I'm just saying, like, in lieu of telling him to shut up.
There was not one heckle in the Højgaard Griffin. In case anybody was wondering. Literally, I texted Joseph at one point. He was like, how's it going over there? And I was like, honestly, I think apathy is the only word I have to describe this.
They had more heckles for Victor than Rasmus.
Nobody cared. Literally, just nobody cared.
Just look. We talked about this at length Saturday night.
PJ's going to be filling out his LinkedIn profile. I cover the Champions Tour and Ben Griffin and Rasmus Højgaard.
The most irrelevant Ryder Cup match of the last 20 years.
Imagine if it all came down to that match, that all the media had to gather
for 5 seconds.
Gather around PJ, and he had to kind of like take us through like shot by shot.
PJ was on the ride home. I was like, I thought, like, this is going to be one of the greatest miracle comebacks, and it was all going to come down to me. It's like the only person there to document. I'm really happy that didn't happen. You're like,
it's too big. It's too much.
Sweating bullets there for
your own 86 Masters was unfolding, but only you were the witness.
And for like 5 minutes, that was a real reality.
That's pretty good.
I'm the only person that knows what happened on that 15th hole because it was never shown on television.
15-minute drop.
A 15-minute drop.
So F for Long Island fans.
What would you give Long Island fans? PJ?
Yeah, I mean, F. It was terrible. It was awful.
Why do they do that?
Why are they awful?
What are they getting for that? What are they like? We said it was going to be bad, and it lived up to.
Yeah,
it wasn't
I think that's partially why. I think people took it as like a threat.
But
like, I think people took it as a challenge, being like, "Oh, you want bad? Well, we'll show you bad."
I guess I just didn't expect the level towards the women and children and families. And body, like, I expected people to say you're fat. That's not okay.
This is a great analogy I can give. Lions-Rams, when Stafford came back for that playoff game, and Kelly Stafford went on her podcast being like, the fans were booing me and my kids. They were just booing Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
The kids were getting booed. The women and children were definitely getting
heckled,
here.
like personally heckled.
1,000%.
And like that, we talked about this on Saturday. I just was bizarre to me. I expected people to yell in backswings. I expected people to yell vulgarities. I don't know. It got really weird and personal there. And Rory and Shane, Luke Donald talked about it. Rory, I think, said, like, look, this is not acceptable. It's not acceptable for golf. I think it's hard to disagree. I think that's just the appropriate summation. It's just not acceptable.
Honestly, part of this, I think, like, goes to Keegan Bradley too.
That's all right. Let's talk about this.
I honestly was like pretty frustrated today. The 8th green was like a really bad spot. I know Fitzy got hammered there, and then Rory's match came down, and I'm sitting there, and it's like a small contained space.
Yeah.
You know, it's basically like the green in a hollow. And there's like fans on the hills on all sides.
Around. Yeah.
And Keegan Bradley's just there. He's the captain of the U.S. team. And the fans were being awful. Like, awful. And he's just standing there. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you know what's one way to get this to stop? Is to be like, hey, can you guys be respectful to our opponent? And he had the opportunity to do that, and he just is talking in his microphone about, you know, he's probably saying, hey, you know, Rory had to step off the ball because another guy made a crack about.
All right.
Well, you know, what else is he talking about in his microphone?
Talking about how fast the cart's going to have to go to get up to
But anyways,
14.
like, to me, like, one of the failings of this was that, well, one of the failings was whatever her name was on the first tee telling, you know, Rory McIlroy to fuck off.
Fuck you, Rory.
Yeah.
We tried to curse less on this podcast.
I'm trying. I'm like these are quotes.
We're quoting.
I'm just trying to quote.
Honestly, her just resigning in disgrace is one of the funniest things that could have possibly happened. Like, don't ever let that like get past you. The MC of the first tee had to resign.
Yeah.
In the middle
When
of
it
the
looked
event.
like they were going to lose by 10. That felt like the perfect sort of encapsulation.
But like the greatest failing of this whole thing was like a non-acknowledgement by the PGA of America, who was the host of this tournament, who put out no statements. There's no statements out that I saw on their like Twitter pages, Instagram pages about, hey, let's like a quick refresher about fan behavior.
You know what's true though, Andy? They did put up things on the course that said abusive language will not be tolerated, hateful speech, whatever, and the fans booed those statements.
Yeah.
Like when they appeared up, they were like screaming like, you know, screw you.
They had to do that in 2019 at the PGA. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
They had to put out like a refresher and like, hey guys, when you come tomorrow, like shut up essentially for the PGA. Yeah, I do think
I don't know how it gets better. Is like my thing, because it feels like a little bit of a representation of the toxicity in the country. Not to get serious here, but like I don't know. It just sucks. It's not fun. It's a bunch of people saying stuff that they think they can get away with because they're hiding in the back, or that's what they would say if they were on Twitter, and it's just, I don't know. It's kind of depressing because it's like, can't we just have like a fun spirited match? And I think Rory said it best, like, cheer for your team.
there was so much more fervor in being an a-hole than like getting into the actual match.
Yeah, like cheer for your team. Say go Scotty. It's okay to boo, like have fun with the, you know, the competition and have fun with the opposing players who seemed like they were up to have fun at the beginning of the week, you know?
Yeah. They were like Rory kissing to the crowd.
Yeah.
Rory, like they knew they were going to get the stick, but I think they were into like engaging it to a certain level. But what we're getting at here is does someone else bear responsibility for this? And it's like, or at least culpability.
Probably the head of the PGA, Don Rea.
Don Rea, what's my personal opinion? You know?
Well, you know, he went on Sirius XM radio and did the miracle speech instead.
Did he?
So,
I
yeah,
think there's
I
a
said that. Did you not see it?
No.
Oh, it's great.
I think there's a certain brand of sports fan that thinks it's part of their job to make it a hostile environment, like that's their participation in it. Like, oh, it's got to be tough to come play here. And I think that exists here a lot, but I think it exists in a lot of cities, and that's how they feel like their role is to be part of the team, is to like be awful to the opposing players. And I think like truly, if you looked at it, I think it fucking backfired big time. I think that like the European players used a lot of that energy to play well during Friday and Saturday. And I don't know that honestly, like if it had been as like less nasty, I wonder kind of if the outcomes might have been a little different. So I think it's like evidence of like, you're kind of screwed up in your own dumb way in this.
Yeah. And it's distracting probably to like today, Bryson, unlike Keegan on his radio, when they were counting off Fitzy, like 31, 30. He's like, guys, like stop. And I think it affected JT yesterday, and it's like distracting to them. I do think the PGA and Keegan, there's two things can be true here. The Europeans are European press is like way too sensitive about this and dramatic. Like, everyone in the crowd should be thanking Rory McIlroy and apologizing to him at all times. And like the PGA of America might need to be disbanded. Like there's an extreme view there, and
Americans shouldn't be able to cheer their own shots because of the environment got so toxic that's what Justin Thomas should have not been cheering to the crowd after.
There's somewhere in the middle, like
good shots. Yeah.
The Europeans are way too quickly offended and a little soft on some of this, and also like it was reprehensible.
Europeans invented hooliganism with soccer stuff. All right, and going to soccer matches is they literally like have to have soccer stadiums in Italy play in front of no fans because of some of their like racism. They went through a whole thing of that. So the idea that like this only exists in America is a little unfair. In America, is it the first time it's really existed in golf? Yeah, that's probably true. But Europeans aren't immune to some of this in other sports for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I would just say we have a pretty high bar. We're not like pearl clutchers on this at all, but this week was bad.
Yeah.
All right. What else? Course setup. Obviously, we talked about. That was like, I don't know. Sucked.
It was soft. It
D.
was boring. I mean, you couldn't made. I don't think it's necessarily the most interesting course, but you couldn't have made it any less interesting than the PGA and Keegan did.
Yeah, it was Garden City Hotel. Great. PJ, you can hand this one up.
I think you're getting a 1-star review from the Europeans if I had to bet.
All right. That
does it
for this Ryder Cup recap show. Had a full week. A lot of fun stuff. Friday, Saturday. Amazing to be here. Thank you guys all for listening, watching. Optum for getting us up here. It's been an awesome week. We'll be back on Wednesday. We got to talk about Sanderson probably.
Yeah, we'll be doing Ryder Cup cleanup.
We're going to do a lot of Ryder Cup cleanup. We'll talk to you then.